Just when you thought it would never happen, it happened. We're back. Bullish Bitcoin banter and bullshit pod 200. We've done it. The four Bs. Brought to you by Mr. All-In, aka the Trillion Dollar Man, Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, myself, So Never Look, aka the Excellence of Execution, and no surprise, Mrs. No Show, even for a big show, still doesn't show. What's going on?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a necessity to turn up for Pod 200, and I did actually think Miss No Show would turn up. We got a message, which is rare. I don't know when the last message from him before was, but we had one this week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Things are going on in Bitcoin when Mrs. No Show sends a message into the chat.
And it wasn't about ESG targets as well.
Not so pricey.
What a fucking week, eh? It's been probably the worst 4 days in Bitcoin in
Oh, yeah,
well,
for like 14, is it 14 years since the Mount Gox stuff?
Yeah, and obviously that was before my time. So
Yeah,
in my entire time in Bitcoin, it's been the worst 4 days.
from someone who's an outsider on both, luckily because I don't have a ColdCard, but also because I wasn't into Bitcoin back in the Mt. Gox days, it just seems remarkably similar because it's a letdown by the infrastructure surrounding Bitcoin. Is the way which I see it, and obviously people are losing considerable amounts of money. I think I saw someone post on someone who said they lost 1.6 million, but I think it's a bit of a begging post. I think he was looking for people just to donate to him, who are super rich. So I think there'll probably be some scammers out there who won't have been involved and some who will legitimately been stolen from.
Right, let's just explain the situation then, eh? So, as we always say, not your keys, not your cheese. And so we always tell people to take custody of their Bitcoin. It's safer on a hardware wallet than it is on the exchange. That line is going to be tough to say again, just because one of the most trusted hardware wallets in the entire space, probably one of the very few hardware wallets that is Bitcoin only. The number one that we've probably spoken about on here is ColdCard. They've had a fatal bug in their code that got introduced 5 years ago. This bug has existed for 5 years. And essentially what it means is that when they were generating their 24 words, they weren't using a proper random number generator, which should then pick from BIP 189, which has the hundreds of potential words in it. It should pick 24 of those completely at random. And if it does that, and it's an interesting thing, random, because a computer is not good at doing random. It wants to do a very exact thing. It's all noughts and ones with computers, yes or no. So when you ask it to go random, it's difficult. It's actually difficult to make something go random because if you run that program a million times, does it give you a million different answers, or does it actually group them? And there's only a couple of thousand unique answers, and it's actually not as random as you thought. It can actually be reverse engineered. Well, that's exactly what's happened at ColdCard. The 24 word generation was not random. They changed their way of creating 24 words about 5 years ago, supposedly for a more efficient and more secure way of doing it. And essentially, instead of picking from an entire pool, they were just picking from a couple of million combinations, which essentially means with the advent of AI, someone has pointed, or at least we think this at the moment, someone has pointed an AI bot at the ColdCard open source software, and it decided to look for vulnerabilities. That's what the user asked it to do, and it went straight into the 24 word generation, and it started to generate tens of millions of 24 words. And quite quickly, it found a pattern, and it realized that it is only possible to create a couple of million versions of these 24 words from ColdCard. So it then proceeded to work through all the Bitcoin addresses, trying these millions of 24 words against each one. And unfortunately, it was successful. And up until now, I think there's around just over 2,000 different addresses have been hacked and completely drained of all their Bitcoin. We've just gone over the $100 million mark. I think it's about 1,500, or it might have risen to 2,000 Bitcoin by the time this goes out. And so essentially, there's a load of people out there, at least 2,000 people that have had addresses they've secured that Bitcoin. It's held in that address. They generated their keys using a cold card. They've put it securely away, and then they've gone to get it, and it's got no Bitcoin on it. The 24 words has been guessed, and they've lost everything. So this is every Bitcoiner's worst nightmare, right? And it couldn't have happened to a worse wallet.
Yeah.
CoinCard or ColdCard is literally the gold standard. I came into this space pretty naive, really. I thought I'd done my research and stuff, but then I essentially just went for the number one hardware wallet that was out there, which was Ledger. And at the time when I got it, it only had, I think, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin or something, because that was largely the only coins that freaking existed in the space. So I was like, oh, okay, it's got these other coins on it. Don't really need them, but whatever. And now little did I know, once I got further into the space, it was like, oh yeah, you shouldn't use Ledger. It's a shitcoin wallet. And the more shitcoins it supports, the more code it needs to be written, which means the more security risk there is of that being hacked and you losing your Bitcoin. So don't use Ledger. Use ColdCard. ColdCard only does Bitcoin, doesn't do shitcoin. All their development effort is purely a nice small piece of software, just generates words. It's an air gapped little machine, and all it does is sign transactions for you, safe as houses. Every single Bitcoin podcast I've ever listened to recommends ColdCard. They have been sponsored, probably sponsored every Bitcoin podcast there is. And they have messed up in the biggest way you possibly can. And what is really shocking, and this is why I'm just like kind of broken when it comes to Bitcoin at the moment, we have the smartest cryptographers and technical brains in the world using Bitcoin. Those same people that I've looked up to over the last 10 years, and some of these people either are Satoshi or work very closely with him and created that source code. They have told me to use ColdCard. Now, fortunately, I actually do have a couple of ColdCards, but I experimented with them, but I never put meaningful amounts of Bitcoin on it. I transferred some over and then just transferred it off again, just testing it, because I kind of felt safer with Ledger and then more recently with Jade, just a more user-friendly interface. So I was like, I'm not technical enough kind of to use ColdCard. It kind of scared me a little bit, even though that was the safest way.
What was overly technical about it?
Well, it's not very user-friendly. It's like, it looks like a calculator.
Correct.
And
it looked pretty cool. And admittedly, I was thinking of getting one at one point, and then I just think Ledger was the big one when I got into it. And then it turned to, I think, Jade, because it's open source, so it could be backed up rather than, closed code.
Yeah. And ironically now, but the fact that you're open source makes you more at risk to AI, because it means AI can then pour through your code and find vulnerabilities. Being closed source actually means at least AI can't fucking see it. So it's a bit of a weird thing, because now you trust the company, but you're not at the risk of AI cracking your code at some point. It's a freaking horrible. Like, we want open source to still be the way, but now obviously we're going to need to fucking up our game. That's what it is. Because at the end of my point that I was going to say there, the smartest brains in the world didn't spot this, and the second it happened, there was countless people going, "Oh my God, yeah, I've just fired my AI bot at the ColdCard code, and I can see it. They literally just generated like 10 million 24 words, basically generated 10 million seeds, and then ran an algorithm on it to go spot for patterns. And what it should see, it's basically, you can plot these things on a graph, which basically means what numbers it's picking, and it should just be a scatter graph of like basically no patterns. It should be random. You do the ColdCard one, and it all groups in the middle.
Mm.
It's so fucking obvious. And why the fuck did we not see it? Don't trust, verify. This entire fucking space trusted ColdCard's word. We didn't verify it. And if we ain't doing that, we're meant to be separating money from state here, boys. They're going to come for us. They're going to attack us hard with everything. And we're sat, I literally, I put out a tweet. It's almost like I felt like we're on the battlefield and there's only a few of us, but we're smart and we're fucking agile. We're against the big fucking army with all the guns, right? We're going to have to to win this, we're going to have to be fucking smart. And what we've just done is we've all just cocked our gun, put it at our feet and just shot our foot off.
Yeah.
Like, boys, we haven't even said go yet. The battle's not even started, and we're all limping. Fucking hell, idiots! And now we've got to somehow get morale back up. Fucking still go at them, limping along. And whilst we're limping, we're like, by the way, guys, do you want to come join us? It's like, you load of retards. You just shot yourselves in the foot. Why don't we go join you? I think I'll go join the guys with the big guns over there. And
When you put it like that, you're right. It's so true. It's so hard. It's already hard convincing people to even think about Bitcoin. And then when we're there advocating that, get it out of the banks, because when it's in the bank, it's actually not your money and they can take your money and withhold your money from you. I still personally haven't got my head around it, in the fact that, yes, the three of us on this call have not been affected, but it's as good as being affected. It's like losing a loved one, or someone else losing a loved one, and you're thinking, could have been me.
Yeah, because I actually
it's hard.
say it's almost worse than Mount Gox, right? Because with Mount Gox, it was a single point of failure. You could kind of see it come in, and then ironically, a load of people got money back in the end. It took them 10 years to get it, but the liquidators came in, and at least people got 10 or 20p on the pound. In this instance, there's nowhere to go. You are your own bank. When you get cleared out, and I've seen people go, oh, I've reported it to the police, reported it to the FBI, and they just went, we don't care.
Yeah, you and your
Anything,
magic
they're happy.
internet money.
Yeah.
I think the only one is potentially exchanges blocking, but then you've got things like the coin mixers, which will make it a lot harder to track down. So I do wonder whether you'll end up with companies like Chain Analysis doing a bit of a campaign on this.
Yeah, and it's going to be really hard to prove that the Bitcoin was yours as well, because imagine you're sat there with a ColdCard, and you're like, the way to prove that was your address before is to sign a transaction. But your keys are out there. Any fucker can sign your transaction now. So if you are the guy, right, that lost 1.6 million, yeah, and I've seen that tweet as well, and I think he looks legit. It's impossible to prove it, really, because he can go, oh no, look, this is my wallet. I can send money from this address. I'll put some more Bitcoin on it. Well, there's probably no point. It'll get swept instantly. But he can interact with that wallet, right? He could sign a transaction from that wallet, but he could be the hacker. You don't know who's who, because suddenly now your unique way of verifying that you own that wallet is now not unique, and multiple people now, and that seems to be what's happened as well. By the way, it seems like there was a single individual that started this, and then once it got revealed that this hack was there, others have jumped in on it, and now there's multiple people all firing out these millions and millions of seeds against every address in Bitcoin and just seeing what they get. And so now we've got multiple people all using the same hack. And and I've seen horrendous stories of people. They've been on holiday, unable to get home. They've had to ask their neighbors to go into their house, go into their secret location, give them the code to their safe, and go on FaceTime so they can see what their 24 words are, share it with their neighbors, because it's like it's obviously fucking stupid to do that, but you've got to move the coins. So they're getting their 24 words, buying another wallet where they are, and
Got to
then
move it.
loading it up and then sending it somewhere else.
Or back to an exchange even. Put it on an exchange.
That's where all the coins are actually really going. Because no one's got time to get another wallet, can't wait for
Correct.
delivery. You just got to send it straight to an exchange.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just see it as fucking panic stations. And it's happened over the weekend as well. It happened, obviously, all the kids are off, loads of people are on holiday. It happened on a Friday. It's a classic, isn't it? Like, when do you want to bury bad news? The politicians always release it on a Friday, don't they? It's when this hacker decided to get going on a Friday. As everyone's winding down, looking forward to the weekend, obviously kids are off, people booking holidays, bang. And it caught a load of people out over the weekend, a load of people that potentially could have reacted, couldn't, because they weren't at home.
Yeah. And you always fear, like I always have always said that, every day there are hackers trying to get into the exchanges. Every minute of the day. And previously there was, hackers trying to get into the bank and move the money from the bank and put it to a different account. Now it's even scarier if they're trying to get into an offline cold wallet storage, whether it's cold wallet or another ledger, Trezor, you name your Jade wallet, because I'm sure they're trying as well.
Yeah, the good thing is this is unique to ColdCard. Every other wallet has been analyzed now, and every other wallet actually generates their 24 words properly. Apparently Ledger, because it's closed source, it can't be verified, but Ledger have come out and said, we have done rigorous testing on this, and the 24 word generation is not compromised in the same way as ColdCard. So, and then we'll get into it, but there's a very strange way that this ColdCard code that was supposedly a random number generator wasn't very random. It's interesting how it got in there. So we can get onto that. So should we move on to the stories? Because our first one is from CoinKite, who are the makers of ColdCard and also the block clock, by the way. So the block clock that I now have. Imagine, by the way, having a ColdCard being wiped. You still got your block clock in the background telling you the price of Bitcoin.
Oh.
I'd have fucking smashed it to pieces. Fucking hell, talk about rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah.
But, here's their official statement that came out on Friday. As a summary, it's fucking lame as shit. So he's saying, "I'm sorry, I'm devastated. Our team is heartbroken about yesterday's news." Essentially saying, "Oh, what have I clicked on here? If you generated a seed using ColdCard Wallet, move your funds now using our updated best practices." Before reading further, we take full accountability. They've shipped a hot fix. They're just basically saying they're going to keep you up to date. They're going to work with affected users, filing a police report, blah blah blah. An apology doesn't return anyone's funds.
No, it doesn't.
We know we'll have to earn back users' trust. That is burnt. This bridge is burnt. You're never selling another hardware wallet again.
I mean, that business is gone now, right? So Cold Wallet is pretty much dead in the water.
It is cold as a dead body.
Correct. Right. So
he starts blaming AI. It's a new paradigm. AI assisted code review can now help with bugs. No, mate. Unfortunately, this bug is so fucking obvious. It's literally the main thing the hardware wallet needs to do is generate 24 words randomly. And it didn't do it. This isn't about there's plenty of weird hacks that I've been fully expecting in this space. And that's what I'm actually scared of now. Is the the really weird, nuanced bug, that no one can find. And one day you open up your hardware wallet and it just flashes once or something. You're like, oh, what's that? Oh, and you just ignore it, keep going. That was it. That was the bug or the hack. Like suddenly you're now not using your hardware wallet, like you think you're on the cash machine, but really there's a front on top of it, and like you're just feeding it your PIN code, and then they come in later and just rinse your account. Some clever kind of hack. This isn't a clever hack. Anybody could reproduce this, and they did in the amount of hours. They did not test their 24-word generation. So no apology. If I was him right now, I would say every single penny that this company has is going to be put aside, and we will do our best to refund customer funds. We'll wind the company down. We're done. And all the profit we've made that we haven't already spent on salaries and blah, 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 whatever our cash reserves are now, we'll put them to side and we'll give them back to customers. That would have redeemed him somewhat. But none of that, no mention of refunds, because I think he's terrified of the lawsuits that are undoubtedly coming his way. He's just like, oh, really sorry. But AI, yeah. AI is really, really clever, isn't it? Doesn't cut it. And let's just see what some of the big influencers. We've got a couple of people here on a podcast straight after this happens, basically trying to come to terms with what's happened. And these guys, by the way, have all made a lot of money shilling ColdCard. They've all got affiliate links. Every time you buy a ColdCard off these guys, they'll get a couple of quid. Let's see. And it's BTC Sessions that speaks here, who's one of the biggest educators in Bitcoin. And he's done numerous videos on ColdCard and recommends it heavily. And you can see how broken he is in this clip.
It wasn't just talking about it on here. This is my livelihood. This is my life savings. This is how I'm securing for not only my kids and my wife, but my parents and my wife's parents and friends and family members and all this stuff. And the amount of stress and in some cases heartache of messages and people I've heard from is horrendous. And it's gonna make for a pretty rough time for a lot of people I know moving forward. I feel personally betrayed. I also feel horrible for being a cheerleader of this particular thing. And the part where I'm having trouble grappling with it is obviously in the realm of digital security, software, hardware. Security is always a moving target, and the nature of software and bugs and all that kind of stuff is always, there's exploits and they get patched, and there's vulnerabilities and they get patched, and it's this cat and mouse game back and forth. And as we said, the things are very much changing right now, the pace at which that happens in the world that we're in. And so, of course, this is going to happen, not just to CoinKite, but to others. And it will continue to happen, as we alluded to, especially now, and assumptions about security and how to set up and how to properly secure things are going to change probably a bunch as time goes on. But the thing that has me sick to my stomach is, and this is where I'm kind of, it's like I'm trying to hold myself back, but I think I'm just going to talk pretty raw about it. It was the approach of Rodolfo these past years. and the way that he interacted with others that were also building in the same space, and the people that were putting in effort and building, in my opinion, good things that helped people around the space. And I always tried to stay out of those fights, but I think I gave the behavior a pass because I erroneously believed that the hubris came with a heightened ability to create and secure. And in the end, I was fucking wrong.
So that's what I think makes it even worse, because I've forgotten about this, because Rodolfo, otherwise known as NVK on Twitter, every time, Ledger lost everyone's data numerous times, right? I've had scam calls and messages to my old address and letters ever since Ledger lost all my details. Every time that happened, ColdCard and Rodolfo was always haha, should use a proper wallet, use ColdCard. Other wallets have had numerous problems. They've not being able to fund it. They've taken orders and not shipped the product and And instead of helping, all these people we're a small community in Bitcoin, right? There's a small amount of builders here. ColdCard have always been quite aggressive to just about everybody else and gone, look, they just don't know what you're doing. Just buy ColdCard. It's just simple. And so they've always been quite dismissive. And for them to now have the issue of all issues, and like they've said, we've all looked past it. And I must admit, I quite liked when he was doing it. It kind of fits into the toxic Bitcoin maximalist in a way, but in a weird way, it doesn't, because it's like, well, you're doing it to people that are struggling. So you don't be toxic to someone that's struggling. You're toxic to someone that doesn't get it, or they're shilling fiat. They're not arguing from a real place. So then you just tell them to fuck off. Have fun staying poor. Fuck off. But with other Bitcoiners, if they have a problem, you listen and you try and help if they're trying to solve a hard problem. But if you've got a competing product, you don't just dismiss it and just go, oh, fuck off. And he's had numerous battles as well. It's obviously all his code is open source. So there were some wallets that came out that just grabbed his code, changed a little bit of stuff, put it into a different device, and then started selling it. And people actually think that was actually what prompted him to change some of the code behind the 24-word generation. So ironically, the people that nicked the code that was completely open source originally got good code, because originally ColdCards did work perfectly. It was only in the last 5 years that they haven't. So it just compounds the problem, and it makes the apology from the CEO even less kind of authentic, really, because we know how he would react to this. He would laugh and go, "Ha ha, should have used
If
it."
it was a competitor, for sure.
Yeah.
So BTC sessions, again, I've always said I watch a lot of YouTube, but is he alluding to the fact that he's lost money himself?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he's lost money himself, because obviously he could react quickly as well. And it was only the MK3s. So if it was basically, well, to admit, maybe it was him. So if you generated it was mainly the MK3, which it came out 3 years ago. It was about a year period where they were selling that ColdCard. That one was 100% compromised. And then there was an MK4 and I think an MKX or something that came out. And then in the last couple of years, they are still compromised, but only to about, I can't remember how they actually phrased it. But basically, it's still eventually you will get swiped. It'll just take longer to get those funds, because I think the call of
multi-sig.
No, it's just the random number generator. They used a very, very bad one for MK3 for like a year. And then they did change the random number generator and improved it a little bit for the next two versions, but it is still nowhere near. And basically, it's called entropy. I should probably use the word more. Entropy is what they call it, which is the basically the way of it generating a random number. And it was very poor entropy. It's meant to have a very high entropy, so it's extremely difficult to hack it. So if it's done properly, Literally, it's one of them where if you could get all the computers in the world right now to use their processing power to hack one single address, and the sun will explode before you find the right key. You know, you have thousands and thousands of years of just brute forcing a single address. What this person's managed to do is hack 2,000 addresses in 3 days. Because it just shows you how far
Speed.
away from a proper random number. The whole point, you know, like the reason why we have to use a hardware wallet to generate 24 words is because humans can't be random either. If we were to put the 200 words in front of us now, we would accidentally pick words that kind of matched, and we would basically create a pattern. Which is why one of the ways you can generate your own 24 words is through having a load of casino dice, and you roll the dice and then take the averages of the numbers and basically just pick words randomly and just roll another 10 dice and basically pick the numbers. But even then, you have to pick casino dice. If you pick random dice from board games, they can be non-random as well. I'm sure we've all seen it with games where sometimes you're like, why am I always rolling double five? You know, it's because there's probably a problem with that dice, that it's been damaged, been bitten, been thrown, or wasn't manufactured properly. And essentially, it's more common to land on five than any other number, which is why you keep rolling double fives. So if you used your dice from board games, you even then wouldn't get true entropy, because you're using fixed dice without realizing they're fixed dice, right? You have to go get casino dices that are perfectly the same weight all the way around them. And apparently with ColdCard, you can do that as well. You can add dice rolls on the end when it's done its random number generator. It gives you the option to go, do you want to roll a load of dice a couple of hundred times and then feed in the numbers that you get from that to then add to the entropy that we've already done? And the people that did that are safe. They actually added enough entropy to the bad entropy words that they were going to generate to make it safe. But obviously, the majority of people didn't do that. They trusted the product.
Take it out the box. Off you go.
So this is a post from, it's a couple of days ago now. This is where it was before. Where it's just like, yeah, this is our friends, Bitcoin, good people, hardworking family people, saving for retirement for their kids. Money that was left for loved ones by Bitcoiners who passed away from brain cancer, Bitcoin that belongs to expectant mothers, Bitcoin from 10 years of scrimping and saving. We must look at it, we must feel the pain, we must never, ever, ever allow this to happen to again. And basically, we're tracking the wallet that's all being sent to. It was at 1,000 Bitcoin then. I think it's at 2,000 Bitcoin now. And it just continues to grow. Yeah, just confirmation. We've got Ledger coming out here saying they're not affected. Their words are safe. So for anyone that has a Ledger or any other wallet, you are safe. If you're on ColdCard, send it to an exchange to begin with, and then figure out whether you want to use a hardware wallet. I'm not even going to say get it to a hardware wallet right now, because who knows what's going to happen. So this is where
this is actually a thing that you mentioned just there as well. It made me think, even though Ledger have come out and said everything's safe, I felt like putting it on the exchange and it being safe. But not safe. It's like nowhere's safe.
I know.
And that's the scary thing, right?
I think
weirdly,
I think in the short term, right now, like we know in the long term, like obviously exchanges and any financial institution is not safe. They're going to steal it all eventually. But are they going to steal it this week? Probably not. So shove it on the exchange whilst you figure out what the fuck you want to do. I honestly think it's better to do that. I can only imagine how stressed I would be if this was happening to me. And that's when mistakes happen, right?
Yeah.
And imagine rushing, setting up a new wallet and fucking it up. So even though you weren't wiped yet, you fucked it and just sent it to the wrong address, or you wrote down a word wrong. Like you just can't.
You're in a panic, can't you?
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
literally against the clock. Like at any minute, your wallet could get swiped. So you're going to be speed running the setup process to try and get the coins over there. So skip that, send it to an exchange, calm down. It's safe now. For now, it can't get hacked at least. When you say that, well, who knows? Hopefully, your fucking exchange account.
Exactly.
Most exchange accounts are pretty safe now, admittedly. They've got a lot of two-factor authentication. I haven't heard of people getting swiped from inside an exchange for a while. The main risk is the exchange goes down. Obviously, I would recommend in the UK Kraken. Kraken seem to be safe as houses. But, I say that, they'll fucking go bust next week. You don't know, do you? But
Episode 200, you told me that I could put it in Kraken.
exactly. At the moment, I literally, I'm all out of recommending anything Bitcoin related right now.
It sounds like you're recommending people to get an ETF.
I wouldn't even recommend that. I'd say buy the S&P 500, put it into a fucking pension, like buy a house. Like I am not.
Did he just say that? Save his houses.
It's all going to get stolen from you anyway, so you might as well try and build up a bit of a stack before it all goes into freaking authoritarian communism. But because at the moment in Bitcoin land, it'll get robbed off here before communism even hits.
Yeah.
So
the price doesn't really seem to be affected, though. I don't know if this has just gone over people's heads or there's so much in companies and ETFs that everyone's just like, what the hell's a ColdCard?
It's interesting you mentioned that.
Yeah. That, and for me as well, that was also a really shocking thing. I think I even tweeted about it, that the fact that the price hasn't moved just kind of tells us that
if anything, it dipped and then came back.
Oh yeah, I actually did. Yeah, I've even got a tweet on it. I thought I did. I did it straight away as well. Yeah, and I was just like, it didn't get a single bit of engagement. But the fact
That's on the first, so it's in with a dip.
Yeah, the fact the Bitcoin price hasn't moved based on the ColdCard news just shows how dumb this space is. Any normal company has an issue this big, and you're getting run to the exits. Most of the bag holders don't even know how to sell or understand what's happened. Full of fucking larpers.
Yep.
It dropped by like 1,000 or something like that, so not massive amounts of money.
But it dipped and it came back. It's fucking up today.
Yeah, it's up. Yeah.
It was just bouncing around. Like you'd expect a 10K dip over like instant.
For something this big, for sure. But maybe that also goes on to prove and to show the percentage of people that we're actually using, despite all of our efforts, and say, hey, use cold storage of some sort. I think the majority probably are still on the exchanges.
Yeah.
So they're like, didn't even know what that was anyway. Despite all of the whatever they watch and the adverts saying cold wallet. Nope. Just ignored because that looks hard.
It does amaze me that the mainstream media haven't jumped on this
and
gone, oh, Bitcoin's like main hardware wallet. It's just been revealed.
They don't get it.
Not secure, and everyone's just been losing their funds. These muppets, these like preppers, all think they're gonna, they've got the new form of money, and they've been sat at home. Because some of the recommendations about the set up a ColdCard was insane, right? It's literally get into like a Faraday cage, wrap your room in foil, because there's a risk, right? When you're generating your 24 words on a hardware
I'm with you now.
There is a risk if someone is close by, they can sniff the signal. So like people have gone to crazy lengths, right, to generate these words. And some people have said they've done this stuff, right? They've done it just in case. They live in a city and they're like, I don't know if there's not someone nearby that just has a permanent sniffer on. And so if there is, there's a chance they might be able to sniff a couple of the words or maybe all of them. So just in case, obviously the odds on this happening is close to zero as you can fucking get. And
Getting
then
a hotel out of town.
I know, but imagine doing all that, and then 5 years later, just
Oh.
get whipped from under your feet anyway, because someone get fucking guessed them. You just, it's just, oh,
Horrible.
it is completely insane.
Yeah. So these people will have obviously no way back. Hard to. It's such a mental hurdle. I just think if I lost my, I already, in a way though, right? I already think of my stack as gone. As in, like, the money that is there, because I'm nowhere near my Bitcoin moon. So in a way, I'm like, well, I'll just be like all the other plebs and work until I die. If this gamble of the magic internet money actually comes off, happy days. I'm out. See you later, suckers. But if not, I'm already thinking I'm posting up until I'm 66, 67.
More like 75 by the time it's due then.
Yeah.
I know what's devastating though is like what's life going to be like when you're 75 on a fiat standard.
Oh,
I mean, like for our children.
Think about all that helicopter money.
Well,
yeah.
they're not going to have any money, are they? It's going to be socialism, and they're going to have to work for scraps, and they're going to own nothing and be very happy.
Be in the breadline.
And this was our one like the 1% chance that we could beat it. Because it's not. It's why it's like I'm not here for the gains. I'm here for the revolution. And I mean, I've said on here numerous times, like I would be going insane with how the world is going if I didn't have Bitcoin. It was my thing to hang on to go, there's hope. It's like it's what Saylor said, wasn't it? Like Bitcoin is hope, even though he's freaking meant it in a completely the wrong way. But it is a good line. Like Bitcoin was my hope that we could win, that fair money could rule again. And I don't know, over the last, I think I'm still in shock, and still haven't processed it yet. And I hope this is just like, it is another Mt. Gox. It's a nice way to bottom out the market. Let's take another 50% fucking dip. We fucking deserve it. And then before you know it, a month later, we're at 200K. You know, a load of people bought the dip and we're fucking off again. That's exactly what happened in Mt. Gox. The price plummeted. And then once the price got super cheap, a load of people with a load of money just went, well, we're fucking buying this.
Yeah.
And it flew. And then suddenly, out of the ashes of Mt. Gox came all the hardware wallets. We realized we couldn't trust exchanges anymore. So people are already predicting that, well, out of the ashes that is this iteration of hardware wallets is the next iteration. This will prompt someone to do it, and that's when the market will boom. But at the moment, I can't quite like see the light yet. I'm still in the midst of the fire, and the flames are still burning my face off, and I'm like, I can't.
I mean, when these bad things happen, they do typically bring around the good things of like, okay, all of the exchanges now will be doubling down on security. All of the hardware wallets will be increasing their security even further as well. In a roundabout way, in an mercenary way as well, our Bitcoin should have actually got priced in to be even bigger and better, because now the asset is even more scarce, knowing that what's just gone can't be retrieved. So it's a bad way to think about it, but it's like, okay,
Well, someone's got it.
someone's got it, yeah, but they can't. And this is the weird thing, right? Someone's got it, they've done it, but we know pretty much it's very difficult to then move that, and they probably want to move it, get it off, and then put it into real world stuff. Good luck with that, because you've got the eyes of the world on you.
They'll wait a few years. They'll put it through mixers continuously. Because it was that New York guy whose dad was a con artist and his missus was at weird rapper. He waited years to try and do it, and then got caught when he did it.
Yeah, I think you can wait for however long.
Yeah.
It still will get picked up. I don't
It
think
will.
there is a time frame because it'll just look weird and odd that all of a sudden, even if you try to drip feed it, I just think it's still gonna.
Yeah. It's one of the most watched wallets there is now.
Yeah,
So every single person is watching it. People have written code already to go follow any coins that move. And as
yeah,
you know, Chainalysis have all the mixes are compromised, as we already know, because that guy got caught. That proved it. I literally watched
yeah.
the Netflix documentary on it, where they went to the mixers and basically gave them a warrant and got them to unmix it. So they basically then could see where his coins had gone. And then, yeah, eventually he puts it onto an exchange under his own name. And I think he'd been getting away with it for a while. I think they'd been living a life of luxury for a couple of years. But eventually they unmixed the coins that he had mixed. They managed to follow the trail, and eventually it landed on an exchange that was in his own name, and they got him. So the same thing will happen here.
Yeah.
The guy that's got all this money, he's going to have a very hard time spending it because the mainstream world will have you think that Bitcoin is the money of criminals, but ironically, it's the easiest traceable money out there. It's on an open blockchain. Fiat is much easier to hide.
Yeah.
But so when you steal Bitcoin, especially in these quantities, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to ever. Because even just transacting with another Bitcoiner doesn't work, right? Because what you're doing is like, who's going to accept that Bitcoin, right? Let's say I've got £1 million house. I'd have to charge him at least 10 million for the house, right? Just to go, oh, come on, like I'm taking a huge amount of risk here, so I want 10x. So he sends me 10 million of that Bitcoin. Now I've got a wallet that is highly watched again. So what I can't really do anything with it. Yeah, you can mix it and all that, but as we know, the mixers are compromised. They'll just go and give a
Yeah.
warrant to the person, whatever software you use to mix it. They'll go and get the CEO of that mixer, put him in a dark room, put a warrant on his desk, and go fucking unmix this now, or you go to prison for the rest of your life. And he's like, fine, I'm doing it now. Here it is, unmixed. There's the 17 addresses that it came out on. Go follow those, and you're back on the hook. And if that wasn't bad enough, you talk about email addresses now. So apparently ColdCard have said for years, this came out, actually it's only the beginning of the year, but he is saying every other month one of our competitors has a data breach. CoinKite and ColdCard take this extremely seriously because we're Bitcoiners. We don't expose any customer to any marketing tools we provide, the option to anonymously purchase, and we delete whatever little we have in 90 days. However, when this problem happened, a load of customers got emails from ColdCard saying that it happened. How did he email people if he deleted about 90 days? Another lie.
Yeah.
Another lie.
I don't think there's really any response to that, is there?
No. And then I thought this was just a really good summary of it, really, which is where, this is it summed up how I was feeling about it, really. It was just, this may be even worse than the exchange hack. It hit at the core of sovereign Bitcoiners. Heart goes out. And self-custody is hard. If you advocate for it, you should also be telling people to use multi-vendor, multi-sig. But don't trust a single vendor. We all know these things, but we know they don't. So if you are affected, he's basically going document everything, file a police report. We'll be watching for coordinated attacks to see where the funds go. Don't destroy your ColdCard and your seed phrase. Hold on to them, including your PIN, because you might need this to prove that you had access to the card, to that address at some point in the future. And don't get scammed. but don't do anything rash. And yeah, but yeah, it's sad, isn't it, when basically the only real thing you can do is go into fiat land, and unfortunately, we're outside the system here in Bitcoin land, especially in hardware wallets. When you go back into the system and go, oh yeah, I had hundreds of thousands of pounds or whatever it is of Bitcoin at home, and you tell that to the police, they'll just look at you going, what the fuck are you doing that for then?
Yeah.
Why wasn't it in the bank?
Yeah.
Where did the robber come from? Did they break in? Did they oh no, who is they? I don't know who it is. How did it happen? It happened on the internet. Like one minute I had my Bitcoin on there, the next it didn't. Like where are they going to start? They don't even know the jurisdiction of the person that stole it, so they don't even know if the crime occurred here. Police won't help you.
So difficult.
And then we get into the good stuff, right? We get into the conspiracy theories. And this is actually growing legs by the minute. So this bug, this low entropy, is so basic. People have started having a look at it and going, is this something that was done on purpose? They knew about it and they've been waiting to kind of pull the trigger. And this guy starts to just talk around it. But I think Hodlnaut managed to find something really interesting, which, number one, around the time or recently, there's been a senior engineer role that was advertised, and it was listed to be looking at debugging the firmware and hardware tooling, which would absolutely be around 24 word generation. So my kind of tweet to that originally was, oh, this could be an inside job then, not by CoinCard, ColdCard themselves, but they could have hired someone into this role. They found the bug, and instead of reporting it, steal from it. But it's got deeper than that, because now we have found which developer put this new library that generated the random number generator that was faulty into the system. And it's a guy called basically Switch. And no one knew who Switch was. But they looked into it and they found that this was actually the internet name of a guy called Peter Gray, who is the CTO of ColdCard.
Oh, conspiracy.
And he laps as a tranny.
Oh, gosh, of course she does. Oh.
So now suddenly it's like, why would you do this essentially? Because I've seen posts where NVK was thanking Switch for this bit of code, this new library file that they had then integrated into ColdCard that basically replaced how they generated 24 words before. They didn't mention it was their CTO that did it. They said it was this Switch guy and not Peter Gray. So why did you hide that it was Peter Gray that did this? Why did he not want the kudos? Why did he want to hide in the background? And there's, I can't believe I haven't put it into the notes, but there's a horrendous tweet from MVK where he's talking about a vulnerability in a different hardware wallet. And he replies going, that looks like a retirement bug to me. And someone goes, what do you mean by a retirement bug? And he goes, it's when you put low entropy into the seed generation and you swipe the funds and retire on them.
Yeah.
He made that joke about 3 years ago. It's now come true for his own wallet. So everyone's going, is this just been one long con? Did you create? Because that's the ultimate scam, right? Isn't it, in Bitcoin? Create a hardware wallet. Create the best one. Bitcoin only. Get everyone to put their Bitcoin on it.
Trojan horse.
Push an update that destroys your entropy on the 24-word generation. Wait 5 years, so a nice lot of people have put on it. Let them keep stacking month by month. And just when it's reached a number that you're happy with, swipe it. I really hope none of this is true and it is just some random dude somewhere. Because if it ends up being inside ColdCard as well, you're like, I don't know, it just makes it feel even worse because you're like, obviously,
You used to be one of
inside
us.
job is always the hardest one to prevent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially someone who sets up security.
Yeah.
Yeah, good couple of theories there. So it could be like this new developer who's found the exploit, but it could also be the CTO.
Yeah. Because hopefully the CTO is just incompetent. That's his best defense at the moment is I am shit at my job. Hopefully he is very shit at his job. Because if he's not and he's very good at his job, it means that is not an accident. That is purposeful. And then yeah, and then just to finish off on the stories, and we can just have a chat. But this is, I think, some of the sentiment that's now coming out of the space, right? So we got Gary Cardone, like he's a fucking scammer, but whatever. He's a big billionaire guy who's been very vocal on Bitcoin recently, and this is his response to basically what's happened. He's like, the odds of me seriously a money suit, in serious money, a suit rolling 100 dice is zero in my lifetime. No serious people are going to do this. Most certainly not an institution, and think I would then diversify against 4 different providers, 400 rolls of dice. Get the fuck out of here. This is not scalable. It's delusional to think people investing millions of dollars are going to roll a dice. Secondly, you're a moron at this point to connect or use software or hardware to protect hundreds of millions of dollars built by companies that have never been profitable, have no revenue growth, no path to profitability, no excess profits to reinvest in security and R&D, and zero sustainable use case or relevance, and a total incapacity to take on millions of customers to scale and service them. At this point, self-custody is a joke. It's not sustainable. And if only the real Bitcoin is self-custody Bitcoin, and a punk small organization is dumb and announces Bitcoin's failure as an experiment. The concept of the fascist Bitcoiners who have never run or built sustainable businesses, who are anarchists, not creators, not builders of real businesses, who in their hearts want the entire system to collapse. So they, the anarchists, with no experience to build industries, yet pretend to be experts promoting and advertising self-custody. I hold 1,000 Bitcoin on a ledger or a casa is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. And the problem is, dickheads like Gary Cardone have been saying this shit for years. And we've just laughed at him, gone, have fun staying poor. Today, I fucking agree with him.
Yeah.
That's how much has shifted. And the problem is, this is the sentiment of new people that want to come into Bitcoin. We're going to tell them to fucking fire up a wallet and roll dice 100 times. You fucking joke.
I mean, we've been talking about this for years. There's got to be a better solution to hardware wallets. They're not particularly usable, and then this is the massive flaw, which is being exposed. Like the trust, you want zero trust.
The problem was we were always talking about the usability, but the technical gubbins behind it were supposed to be rock solid, right? Now we've just realized not only was it not usable, it didn't technically work either.
Yeah.
It's like throw it all in the bin and start again, isn't it?
And what he has said there about having your Bitcoin split across multiple different vendors, that's what I've got because I just couldn't trust to have it all on one thing.
Yeah. It's just that we're trying to get everybody in, right? We're trying to onboard 8 billion people here. We can't have 8 billion people into it as much as we are.
No.
It needs to be plug and play.
Yeah. Always.
Maybe that's the business idea, boys. We get Claude out, we put a series of prompts in it, we get that hardware wallet, become billionaires.
It's
I mean, if the smartest brains and minds couldn't even think of it themselves, but again, through this bad situation, I suspect that someone will go ahead and find something better than what we're using right now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like the rest of the hardware wallets are fine. That's the problem, right? And I remember obviously when you zoom out and you reflect, like, oh, what else would you invest in? And straight away people be like, oh, you're going to sell Bitcoin, da da da. And I was like, I do have every intention of selling some because I have a business idea that I probably want to pursue that I may not have done before this, but I'm just going to go hell for leather on it now.
It's a pair of shoes underneath the golden arches in every
And
location, isn't it?
some lipstick. But I've forgotten what I was going to say now.
I know I've completely distracted you.
What's this thing about golden arch?
You're talking about money out, and I think it's at risk because we all are still using ledgers. There's still that risk of the unknown, that there's some vulnerability which can be exploited, and we lose a proportion of our life savings. So maybe diversification is the right way right now, and makes us a little bit weak in our previous year's views, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was my point. I was basically going, if you zoom out and have a look at all the different things to invest in, Bitcoin's still the best. It's just that why I'm so gutted about this, because the rest of the wallets are fine, right? For now, anyway. Who knows? But they're absolutely fine. So largely
Update you
Bitcoin.
next week.
I know. That's the problem, right? That's now we can't. I used to just shake that stuff off. We always knew, didn't we? Always in Bitcoin, there's always that tiny chance that we wake up someday and there's a bug in the Bitcoin code, and now there's 21 billion Bitcoin, not million. And now even though our wallets are completely safe, the Bitcoin price is now zero. And you just wake up tomorrow and that's happened. Yeah, all these things can in theory happen. And but it's still like if you compare it to everything else out there, it's still by far the best investment that you can make based on its core credentials.
Which is why
that I have now is how many new people are going to come in after this, and how confident the hardcore Bitcoiners. I think we've all taken such a hit. We're not going to be talking about it as much. But
it is. This is why it's such a Mount Gox moment, because it's not the core investment. It's the surrounding infrastructure which has been the issue.
Oh yeah.
But you need something to come in and take the market. How can you build the trust now?
I know. And I just really hope it's not an exchange, because we know Bitcoin on an exchange over long enough time period, its value is zero. You can't use an exchange for anything other than an emergency short-term period. It's going to get stolen. It's going to be the first thing when the financial system collapses. The first thing that's getting stolen is the Bitcoin. Just because that's the easiest, and no one's going to complain about that. Who gives a fuck about the Bitcoiners? They want to watch the world burn anyway. Speed it up. Stolen all their money. And then the banks will slowly go over one by one. But
is it Swan Bitcoin or River Bitcoin app, which is just basically Bitcoin only exchange? Having more of those, but again, to your point, by touting on about the fact that we are Bitcoin only, kind of says, yeah, don't bother with the other exchanges, just come to us, because this is where the real gold or the real money is at. You know, as we understand, the exchanges, they try to shill all the other like shit coins and do a good job of it, but they hold very little Bitcoin themselves. Obviously, they hold some and more than most. But my point is, ultimately, if fraudsters are going to target these exchanges, then they'll just go to the most profitable ones or the best ones doing the good job of Bitcoin only. So again, you can't win there, because whilst you may think that it's a safer option, it's actually not. It's a more vulnerable option.
I know. And even to Grant Cardone's point, the Bitcoin only exchanges, I would actually say, are more risky of going under than the shitcoin ones, because they're less profitable. Is why I recommend Kraken. All they do is email me about shitcoins, right? Yeah, when I applied to work there, it was the Bitcoin only job, but I knew it's going to be a very weird existence, because the Bitcoin team, they literally told me there's about 7 people there, and they employ hundreds. So everybody else was working on a shitcoin, and I see why. That's where the money is.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
comes in, buys a shitcoin, tries to trade it, loses everything, goes again. They just keep coming back, they're losing all their money, and then every time they move it, there's a fee. Every time they trade it, there's a fee. Bitcoiners don't generate a lot of income for exchanges. We go on there, we buy a Bitcoin, send it out, we never see it again.
Yeah.
And you know what's even better? We've got what this pod was supposed to be is an entire pod on Bit 110. Because there's a potentially a fork of Bitcoin happening next week. We're not even going to get onto that because I haven't got the energy to even go into it. But this is a fucking nightmare in Bitcoin as well. There's a civil war in Bitcoin. With the changes that came in with Taproot that enabled more text to be put in
Spam.
the op return, it essentially enabled all the JPEGs and ordinals and NFTs shit to be put into Bitcoin.
You mean art?
Yeah. So there's a proposal to strip it all out. But obviously the majority of the market are just going, what the fuck are you doing? Like obviously the entire
It's also it seems to have
everything-
died down, hasn't it? It was a vulnerability when people were spamming it, they were making a bit of money. Now everyone's just gone, that was dumb as shit. And it's just a phase, and it's just like you make a change, you put in risk.
Yeah. So we're already here. There's a whole group of Bitcoiners, a load of them again that I've respected that have all started pushing this Bit 110. I've listened to various arguments, and it's like this list looks way too risky to put into Bitcoin, and they're advocating for it. They're trying to change Bitcoin, which could that just doesn't lose it for a section of users. That loses it for fucking everybody, right? If you change the protocol and delete it. And then the other half of the stories that are in there are about Bitcoin treasury companies. And they've all gone fucking bust, haven't they? So, and that's all the influencers that I've kind of seen pop up over the last 10 years. Just about all of them, nearly none, have saved themselves from it. This treasury grift that's wrecked a load of people as well.
Yeah, and Jack Mallers has stepped away from it, but from what I've read on the stuff, Lynn Alden's
Yep.
getting involved, Bob partially. It seems like,
No,
but she works for an investment company, doesn't she? And she wants to put a proportion into Bitcoin, was my understanding.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it massively. Yeah, I can see Lynn has just launched it, which she couldn't be doing anything worse doing that right now.
But I think it probably is just an investment section with her. I'd hope anyway.
She seems to be
Because
killing it quite hard on podcasts, what I've seen.
I haven't listened to a Bitcoin podcast for a long time now.
Yeah. I've only listened to clips of her shilling it, and I'm just like, what's she doing? Like, she's a
Man.
smart person. She should know that grift is you're 2 or 3 years too late. It's done.
Yeah.
Every treasury company is already down 90%. Like, what kind of
Yeah,
idiot is
but
going to invest in yours now?
it's the next iteration. It's like or what they called the previous one, where you could load against your Bitcoin, and then it went pop, and then they brought them back for a little bit and went pop, and then they seemed to disappear. You know, the one which Peter McCormack and
It's staking your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
staking, that was
Yeah.
a phase, wasn't it? And now it's treasury companies is this
Yeah.
phase. So you're going to get a slight little rebound where people do bring some back, and everyone goes, "Oh, that sounds like a new idea." They invest it, goes pop, and then it's done. It's like that second bounce where it always seems to die off. You know, like Ordinals was the second bounce of JPEGs on the blockchain, but Ordinals was the follow up to the what they called NFTs. So like you've always got the second bounce. So just that's my theory on this one is we're going to see a couple go pop again. But I do wonder whether Lynn it's just an investment with her because she's far too smart to be doing this.
It's just sad though, man. There's nearly I get it with the influencers and sometimes even the developers fighting and squabbling. I'm almost used to that. Like, yeah, I mean, the influencers grifting, kind of expected, right? Like, so there was all the staking shit, and obviously all that went belly up. That wiped a load of influencers out, and then the influencers are left. Then did treasury companies, and now they've all made their money during the grift, and then they all get wrecked, and they've got to disappear now because right, you set fire to your reputation. But then the developers have been going at it yet again, and I've experienced this a couple of times now about basically Bitcoin civil wars. So one of them's going on as well, and then just as we're in the middle of that, the most trusted wallet just loses everybody's keys. Jesus Christ, things came in threes, right? This is
it does appear to be the bottom, but there's always a risk that we do get something else which really kicks in.
it's you have to really try hard to not get wrecked this cycle. Like without even really doing too much. You could have just backed Michael Saylor's fucking MicroStrategy or whatever, and
Yeah.
bought that at 500. I think it's at 100 now.
I
All the
know.
treasury
I
companies.
I have got some shares in MicroStrategy, and I just went. It was a punt. I knew it was a punt at the time, and I just sat on it, and it's just like I'm like,
It's bleeding out.
yeah, it's bleeding out. I'm kind of like going, you know what? It might be able to get something back on the next halving, and that's it.
Yeah, it's man, it's been a bit of a rough 4 days.
The
Let's
optimism.
see where we are next week, eh?
Yeah, exactly. The optimism is dead, but we always bounce back with something new. That's what Bitcoin is all about, resiliency.
I'm starting to question that my promise about keeping this podcast going until we're all-time highs.
It may be a bit more of a monthly, but it's right.
I'm just like,
We can always talk about shit coins again. You know you love that.
they're not even around anymore.
I know, I was going to say, it's not really much to talk about there.
It's literally the only thing going on in crypto, to be fair, is like everything's disappeared. It's just Bitcoin now. So we've won. And then we're just shooting ourselves in the feet.
Yeah.
We can always like look back on like all the old shit coins because they were great, like Stick Dicks and like Doge and SHIB and all those kind of things.
I know. It's the fun you had along the way, eh?
Yeah.
And now we're in the doldrums. I remember the doldrums on the last cycle.
All the coins that have no purpose or utility still have no purpose and utility.
Because we're priced like we were like my first cycle when we went to 20K and then we went down to 3, 87% down. I couldn't wait to buy more. I was so fucking bullish.
Yeah.
But this, give me 87% down all day over this. This is because literally I think the price technically from when this hack happened to now, I think the price is slightly up. And I've never been more miserable.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what on earth content we can churn out. Must be some AI slot to try and raise the viewing figures.
Man.
Got a nice image for the front of this one, haven't we? In the group.
Mm. I don't even know if I can have that energy to meme it. It's just fucking too depressing. Might just put the end. Just like
yeah, you need to sign us out so never look before we just turn even more miserable.
Cool. Well, we're back, depressing your lives through the medium of YouTube and whatever other channel that you watch us and listen to us from. This has been brought to you by Mr. Orlin, aka the $1 Trillion Man, Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, myself, Sir Neverlook, aka the Excellent Substitution, and she doesn't even deserve a sign off on Pod 200. Peace.